Do you remember the name of that person who quit? Neither does anyone else. As Brad Pitt said in one of his movies, when he played Achilles, he had to take on this fight against this big giant of a person. And he asked the young man, "Is he big?" And the kid said, "I wouldn't fight him." And Brad Pitt said to him, "That's why no one will ever remember your name." Now, I had a college instructor who really inspired me. I think his name's Virgil Jardine. And he taught economics, and he taught me a lot about life. But one of his favorite sayings was, "Excuses and complaints are the tools of losers, and they build monuments of nothingness." And I've remembered that all these years. I don't know where Virgil is now. He was an amazing teacher. And the reality of life is it's unfair. Not just today, but from the beginnings. 1,000 years ago, life was unfair. You could be in some village and a Viking longship would pop into your village and wipe you out. Or the Mongol horde could be on its way. Or you could have been in Gaul, where Caesar and the Roman legions just wiped your village out. No one ever remembers your name. You were just lost to time. And it was inherently unfair. And that's life. And the key to success in life is don't give up. Winston Churchill famously was saying that during World War II. And this is after he had failed miserably in World War I. I want to say it was the Battle of Gallipoli. He was a part of the planning, a major disaster. Somehow he recovered from it, went on to lead Britain in World War II. And he was very famous for saying, never, never, ever give up. And it's that kind of persistence that is the difference between people who win in life and enjoy great success and those who unfortunately do not win, but they've got a laundry list of wonderful excuses on why they did not win. And so what jiu-jitsu teaches you is persistence. And persistence, you cannot put a price tag on persistence or a true value on it. But it is a talent. It is an acquired skill. And some of the most famous people in history, some of them who have gone on to have amazing success, are people who failed a lot, but they was persistent. Like Henry Ford. Failed constantly. Until the Model T. And of course, everybody knows about Ford now. I think Ford, F-O-R-D, stands what? First on race day? Or some people might say found on the road dead. But Ford. Also, Abraham Lincoln. Read about him. I don't think he ever won an election. He couldn't even win an election for postmaster. But he eventually won the election for president and changed history. Harlan Sanders, the very famous Colonel Sanders, didn't come up with that until the age of 65. He had had a series of failures. And at 65, where most people are thinking about retirement, is when he hit on KFC. So persistence is critical. And jiu-jitsu will teach you persistence. Because you're going to come in to your jiu-jitsu class and you're going to have to compete against people who are bigger than you. People who are more athletic than you, just so much stronger than you, have more experience than you. And you're going to be in positions where you're going to be fatigued, where you're out of gas, you can't figure out how to solve the problem, and you're going to want to quit. And what jiu-jitsu teaches you is there is a way, there is a solution. You just have to find it. You have to keep working towards it, finding the solution, and don't quit. Because tapping is not quitting. Tapping is just acknowledging, oh yeah, you got me in a submission. Okay, we'll reset. But tapping's not quitting. That's different. Quitting is the person that doesn't come back to class. who just gives up. And I would encourage you, don't give up. Not just in jiu-jitsu, but in all your endeavors, all the things that you dream of. Be persistent. Keep pursuing it. I remember my first jiu-jitsu, when I first started jiu-jitsu. I was in my early 30s. I had successfully boxed in the 80s. I had a black belt in Hapkido that I'd earned through the 90s. I'd been in the military, for quite a while, I don't know, 10, 15 years at that point. I'd been fighting all my life. And I remember rolling with a guy named Walt. And Walt just destroyed me on the ground. It was my first couple classes. I'm trying to spar with Walt, and I just had no answer for Walt. He just mangled me. And I was stuck, I couldn't get out, and then I had to tap. So I lost constantly, tapping. It's like, And then one day, I'm like, man, I'm just gonna work harder. I showed up for class and we was sparring, and I'm sparring with Walt's 15-year-old son. And that kid took it to me. He whooped my butt. And I gave him my best shot. Man, I tried everything I could. And after the roll, I had to walk outside and throw up. I had given it everything I had and failed. And that was very humbling for me. Because like I said, I was already a black belt in Hapkido. I'd boxed. I'd been in the military all these years. I'd been fighting for years. And not only I couldn't beat the father, I couldn't beat the 15-year-old kid. So I had a choice. Quit. Give up a laundry list of excuses. Pretend like it didn't happen. Quit. Or come back and figure out. Just keep grinding. Keep being persistent. Figure out why I'm not able. What did Walt and his son know? I think his son's name was Adam. That's how much I remember the names. And this happened over 20 years ago. But I remember them because it was so humbling. And it was a life decision point. Like I'd already been successful in life, but it was like, man, I have to overcome this. I have to be persistent. And that's what I think jiu-jitsu can bring to your life and how it can help your life is being persistent. Coming in, working on your solutions, take your lumps, realize you're going to take a lot of lumps, and working hard to overcome. Like Saturday, I'm in here sparring. I'm going against one of the most talented black belts I've ever trained with, Vitor. And he's in his 20s. My son is older than Vitor. And I'm 55. And I'm rolling with Vitor. And inherently, your mind would tell you, I'm 55 years old. He's 20-something. This is unfair to me. I'm old. But you can either quit or you can be persistent. Work on your solutions. Keep fighting. Never give up. And I think that's what jiu-jitsu can help teach you. And whether it's teaching you as a child or even as an adult. Coming in, learning to take your lumps, learning not to quit, learning how to overcome problems. Because you're going to be in positions where you're going to be totally tired. And everything you're trying is failing. And sometimes you're just going to get tapped out. And then you're going to sit and think about it. Maybe you'll think about it at home, driving home. Like, oh man, what could I have done different? And then you'll come back the next day with your solution. And you'll try that solution out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Or you'll go ask, some other people. Seek answers. Like, hey, how do I solve this problem? And that's a persistence that will put you on a path, a successful path in life to potentially do great things. Or you can do what most people do. Come up with a laundry list of excuses and quit. And then wonder what might have been. That's my answer to this week's question of the week. Feel free to make a comment below, and I'll see y'all next week. Ciao.